Hi, and welcome to H3 TV, where we spread hope, health, and happiness. We appreciate you meeting us here every Wednesday as I interview different guests on how do they live hopeful, healthy, and happy. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing and introducing you all to my friend, Barbara. She has so much inspiration and encouragement to share with you of who she is and why she does what she does. Please help me welcome Barbara. Hey, Barbara, thank
Hi,
you.
hi, Annie, pineapple person. I got my pineapple here.
I love it. I love it. I love all the pineapple people spreading all over the world. So, Barbara, who are you? What do you do? And
Thank
why do you do
you.
it?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate that. And I was so excited to come on and talk to you about what's going on with yogas and a little bit of history with myself. I've been in the mental health field most of my life and worked with various groups of people, everything from children to high school students to in and out of facilities for mental health. And mainly what I did was brought pretty much balance in life for people to become hopeful in maybe what they've done that they're not so proud of through different various things or reasons. And so a lot of the work I did had to do with just bringing balance back in life, and whether that was through physical, mental, or spiritual health.
I love that, Barbara. I think you do such important work, and you've taken an area that can be really a struggle for people, and you have brought some beauty and healing into that. So, when you think about health individually, so many people right away go to the physical. But I think health is at least 7 areas, right? It's physical, emotional, mental, financial, relational, spiritual, career health. What area of health do you really think about, care about, and try to focus on helping other people with?
It's interesting that you say that because I'd been working in the mental health field, a lot of people will focus on maybe just the one. So it might be they're really overly focused, like you said, on their physical health, and it's great. They'll maybe go to the gym 7 days a week, and that's great. But sometimes the other aspects of it fall to the wayside. So and like I was saying earlier, the curriculum that I had developed and was using at the last place that I was formerly employed at really was a well-rounded program. And what it was imagine having like a pizza, and you'd slice that pizza up in maybe say 12 pieces. So more or less, if you focus on one of those aspects, and we may be lacking in some. For an example, maybe I don't have a car and I'm perfectly fine with riding a bike. But so it's fulfilling these certain pieces of this piece of pizza, which is every aspect of our life, if you can imagine. And then each of those can break down into the spiritual, mental, and physical parts of life as well, which kind of turned me into the direction of yoga. And I'd been practicing yoga for most of my life anyway, prior to yoga studios and yoga mats and so forth. And I loved it. And I would just do my own research on eating well, my spiritual health, and finally getting on a mat or a rug at the time. And so then throughout the years, I just kept practicing and practicing, and finally I decided to become a yoga teacher myself. And I really loved every aspect of that as well. And you dive real deep into all those core aspects of yoga as well. So that brought us up to COVID, and I was writing on my yoga mat and kind of making these different positions that for a beginner person, because I really wanted people to see that they too, even if they didn't have, say, a mat, or yoga is not about your economic background or color or religion. Yoga is for everybody. And so I was introducing it to my clients, and there's a lot of sort of fear and trepidation, and so finally I just kept at it, and I pretty much had put a whole class on the mat, and so basically the design, and I'll direct people later to my website and they can check
Do you
that
have a
out.
picture of that? What does that mat look like? Do you have a picture?
I actually.
One thing I love about Barbara's messaging is, and Barbara and I have known each other a little bit and talked. Yeah, I just want to see a couple of those pictures. You could just hold it up just a little bit higher. We see she kind of goes through every different position And it has that. That's awesome, Barbara. One thing I love about Barbara and what she does a little different than some other people is I personally am very intimidated by yoga. I do not like skin tight clothing. I do not do it right. So something that you said that I know a lot of yoga instructors, you use the word practice. And I always think about practice, not perfection, right? But I love that you are creating loose fitting clothes and you're creating a safe space to do it in our homes if we don't feel comfortable or confident doing it in the studio, and that you have the easy pictures to follow. So I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted people to have a visual of these awesome mats that come in different colors with pictures that you can start at home, and you can take it to the beach like I like to do, or you can take it wherever you want to go, but you have it with you. And if you don't have time to do a full session, you can do a few. So why does yoga matter so much? I mean, what's different about it than going to the gym and getting on the treadmill or taking a aerobics class? What's different? What's the value difference?
Well, I think what it is because it's about you, and you develop a program for yourself. So it's not a competition, and it's a step-by-step process. So kind of like in anything in life, I mean, if we look at it full head on, you know, theoretically, a person could practice yoga, you know, anywhere they want to, and or on a plane, or maybe if they're on vacation, and they can simply do their own routine that they're used to. So and it's nothing, I'm not knocking the gyms or anything like that, because all that's really important. Any kind of physical health is great. But what I really like about yoga is how you can dive deep in if you want to, or you can challenge yourself, or you can simply do a couple of beginner positions and keep at it. And once you get those positions, if you're comfortable with that, you can take it a step further, and you know, it goes deeper into the position, if that makes sense. Also, certain people teach different, you know, you've probably heard of like goat yoga, or you know, different various cat yoga or something, and that's all great because it is bringing awareness to, you know, the benefits of yoga itself. But for me, I really like the you know, the whole program. So like, for an example, when I'm teaching, I start out with the I do a like an intro meditation is, you know, part of it, and then we go into the asanas. So it's a gentle warm up into the positions, asanas, and then we wind down into that final relaxation where we do a physical release where you're tense and then you release, and then your whole body, and then it's a mental scan of your body. You're checking in with each part, from your toes all the way up to your eyes and the top of your head, and then you finally go into that final relaxation. So again, I guess what I was taught is that, you know, if you find a pattern or teaching style that works for you, it's like be authentic and stick with that, so that, you know, you can teach the authentic way that you were taught. And so that's kind of what I like to go by, to be honest, truthful, true to me, true to yoga and the lineage that I was trained through.
So Barbara, when I start a yoga practice, when somebody who's listening is like, you know what, I have never really done it. I've heard a lot about it. I'm thinking about starting. What are some of the benefits that I can get physically, emotionally, and mentally by doing yoga? What
Mhm.
what am I looking for when I'm starting that practice?
So I love the way you worded that, because for number one, I'm hearing so many people, it's fear. It's fear of the way they're going to look, how they're going to look next to, say, their neighbor that's practicing in a studio, for an example. So, you know, if they can get over the fear, if people can kind of challenge themselves and say, I'm going to do this. And they would go ahead and they don't even have to buy a mat. They, like I said, they could start off on a rug in their living room floor, for an example, and just have fun with it and play with it. And so, yes, you are going to see the great benefits of, say, like a toned body, or, you know, that is one of the benefits of yoga. However, you know, then you get into the mental aspects. And I'll just say, for an example, even me, if I had any anxiety or something, I would chew my fingers, you know, kind of down to the bone. And this happened years and years ago. And the more and more I started practicing yoga, that all just fell to the wayside.
Mhm.
So it helps with anxiety. It helps for stress. It helps for being a pineapple person, standing tall, wearing that crown, and being nice and warm inside. So it really helps with your breathing. It helps you center yourself. It helps you stay grounded. And there's just the benefits just go on and on and on. I mean, I could talk to you for the rest of the day about yoga, and that still wouldn't probably be enough time.
Yeah. What I love, Barbara, too, is you recognize the whole body, right? Like for me, that's very important when I'm working with people, when I'm talking to people, is that we are not fragmented. We are one body with lots of parts, and they all affect and intertwine with each other. And so you talked about removing anxiety. We know a lot of our listeners struggle with anxiety and fear about many things, yoga being one, maybe, but lots of things, life, the future, their family, their kids. And so that anything we can do to relieve that stress. So do you personally have an area of your health that you are working on right now, or that you're thinking about, or that you really are intentional to yourself? Like, I love that you gave that example of like, you used to chew your nails. A lot of people struggle with that. That's real. What can we do to do that? But what do you do personally? What are some of your keys to being healthy, or an area that you're working on in your own personal life right now?
Oh, well, thank you for asking that. I like to go back to that wheel I was talking about, or that pizza, and I sort of check in with myself, and I kind of go through each category. So it may be, say, finances, it might be physical health, like checking in with, is my body okay? For an example, I had just gotten results back because I had some blood work done, and everything, checked out great. And so just those little check-ins with your own personal, your own vessel, and whether maybe it's housing, maybe it's looking for a job. It could be, any part of that makes you this whole person. So I guess lately for me, it's because I know you've made the big move, state by state move, and we're in a similar position that way, Annie. So my husband and I are going through that right now, and so it's like I think everybody kind of recognizes what the real estate market's like right now, and so just kind of taking every day, and living it to the fullest, like Buddha says, and kind of you still have to live life and show up fully and stand tall and wear your crown and be kind to people, and I'm doing that each and every day, and and that way it sort of just makes that day be nice and peaceful too.
That's right. And be better. You're better, so then you show up better, so then it affects the world better. I love that.
Mhm.
Barbara, so what are like, if I'm hanging out with you and I'm like, I'm not that healthy, I'm not that hopeful, I'm feeling overwhelmed in life, one of our listeners or some people out there, what are kind of 3 tips of something you do every day in a routine or ritual to stay healthy, to stay checked in, to take care of yourself, whether that's physically or emotionally? What are some of the tips that you use that you could share with our listeners?
Sure. Okay, besides doing that check-in, what I might just do a quick scan, like, is there anything, responsibilities or that kind of thing. I want to make sure that, I'm doing that as far as with family, friends, my pets, my plants, all that kind of thing. And then I eat to the best of my ability. I want to, of course we have days, or, maybe the holidays or something, all that kind of stuff that comes up. But for the most part, I think if we're authentic and treating our bodies with respect and love, and that way we're showing up fully for our body too. And then I guess I practice yoga every day. If I'm not practicing myself, I'm teaching a class, which I'm currently doing 3 times per week. And I really like to specialize in people that are just, maybe they've been away from yoga for a while, or COVID kept them out of say a studio. So kind of just, even if they have simple questions, I like to let them know about that as well. And even I'll if we're at a park bench or something, I'll even show them a position that maybe if they're having some lower back pain or something, right there on the spot.
Okay, I need you to show me that right now, because I've been having low back pain this week, and I think I've just been walking so much and so hard, and I'm like, so what would be a suggestion? I think that's a great one, because we always have listeners saying, "Hey, my back hurts." What would be
Mhm.
a quick thing you could?
So one thing that I do with in chair yoga
Okay,
is what we can do is we can hold our arms straight out and bring our hands up over our head.
okay,
Okay, lace your fingers like this,
okay,
right? And we're both sitting in chairs. Bring your hands right behind your neck, very gently, being mindful of any neck injuries. And what you can do is turn to your right as far as you can go and look up over your right shoulder and feel that nice stretch. And you want to stretch to the left, feel that stretch, and then come back and go back to your center point.
Oh, you can feel that. That's a great
And
one.
then go over to your left very slowly and do the same thing. And you're going to look up towards your elbow, bend over to the left, feel that, or to the right, excuse me, feel that nice stretch. Back very slowly. And come back. And then that's just one example. That's a nice you can feel that stretch all the way down your
Yeah.
lower back there.
That
So
was fabulous. Thank you. I love that.
yeah.
All right. So I want to know, sometimes people say, but Barbara, it's easy for you. It's easy for you. And so is this by choice that we get to this healthy place? Is it by chance or is it by circumstance? Tell us, how can we start slowly, maybe taking just one baby step to make these changes? Will it happen by choice, by chance, or by circumstance?
So I'm just going to mention a little bit about going back into my childhood. I had a lot of loss growing up. I had deaths from aunts, mother, sister at a really young age. And a lot of people will say to me, I can't believe that you didn't, kind of like go off the deep end or become, addicted to drugs or alcohol. And I'm not judging that at all, that lifestyle, because I worked with quite a few people that were addicted and so forth. However, I would have to say that yoga has helped me stay centered. And so when I began reading about it years ago, like I had said, it has so many benefits. So even if I couldn't find time to be on the mat, I was reading about it. And even if you can't physically get on a mat, there's chair yoga. There's so many different options. You can go to a class and you can watch. You could watch people because I don't know if you've heard that saying where even somebody who, say, for example, they can't have a pet physically or it's not allowed or something, but just seeing somebody with a pet releases like the dopamine in the brain. So even if you desire to do something and you physically maybe can't do it yet or you're not ready to start that, you could go watch people or ask questions or read up about it. And, and it's so, again, it's a step-by-step process and it's about you. So yoga is all about you. And that way you can empower yourself. And when you're teaching yourself, then you can take that, nobody can take that away from you. You have that within you. So, and like I said, whether you're in a bad situation or incarcerated or anything like that, you can still, this is something that you can do because you can teach yourself. And you don't need any fancy, fancy mat or fancy clothes, all that stuff, you can come along later too, but you certainly don't need that to start out, to begin, and just taking that one step. And then once you begin to get into the rhythm of things, you will find that it's such a new and exciting thing that you're doing for yourself. You're loving yourself, you're honoring yourself. And because we only have, just one life, right? So, and it goes so fast. And if we can do that, our bodies are just so thankful for that.
Yeah. I think that is such good stuff. A couple thoughts come to mind is number one, the answer for you was definitely choice, right? Like you and I know we both had some struggles in our upbringing and lots of challenges outside and inside our world. And yet every day we decided to do something, right? And for you, that was yoga and that practice of yoga. And I love, you reminded me, a family friend of ours spent some time in prison actually. And he said the one thing that saved him was he started doing yoga. And he does yoga now every single day. And he said it helps me manage my anxiety, my anger, my violent temper. Like it just calms me so I can show up. And when the world doesn't go the way, I don't have to attack people. So I love that I think you're reminding us, I think you're inviting us that it doesn't matter if you're in treatment or in jail or living alone or in a chair, right? Whatever their challenges, there's a place to start, and you don't have to have it all together. Though I do love, I know you've got your bright, colorful pants, and I'm all about living in color and being in color. So tell us about those. What's the different? Because I don't like the skin tight spandex that everyone wears. So what's different about your yoga pants? And thank you. I do have some of them, and I love them. But tell
Oh,
me.
you're so welcome. Well, I absolutely love them. So basically, what I did was one of the biggest fears when I was talking to people, they said, and I didn't call it an excuse, but it was I will not go into a yoga studio because of the way I look, or various, you can fill in the blank kind of thing. So what I did was I designed these yoga pants that are really bright and bold and beautiful, and there's no buttons or zippers, so they're really comfortable, and they basically they have two pockets. So there's a pocket for phone, and there's also a pocket for like keys, whatever. So there's basically two pockets within the pocket within a pocket is what it is, and they're just really fun. They stand out and they're comfortable. It's not only for yoga. I mean, people have been saying I absolutely love them because, it's for outside in nature. You can wear them biking, you can wear them boating, but it's because I'm teaching yoga. So, and literally I wear them all the time. I mean, it's just one of those things where you want to be comfortable in what you're wearing and so forth, but you want to feel good about yourself too, So again, it's not about, like you mentioned, the tight clothing and stuff, and and that's wonderful too. So there's no judgment there. It's like whatever people feel comfortable in, and I just kind of prefer, I want something that's nice and soft and warm, and that we have like an original lining that it's like for the northern hemisphere, originally from Minnesota. So this is just so baby soft. It's almost like a baby's receiving blanket, and so these have been going over really well. Not only we're in Florida right now, but because they're still breathable is what I love about it too. So,
and I haven't done this before, but this is what I feel called to do. I don't know, there's a listener out there that needs this, but the fifth person to give a comment as to why they need this pair of pants, I'm going to buy you a pair of pants. How about that? And I want you to know, yes, I'm all about color, but maybe you're not. And Barbara does have them in solids as well. She has them in black. But one thing I love about them, and like she said, no judgment, wear what makes you comfortable. But for me personally, and I've been told by doctors, those skin tight spandex are not ideal for our bodies. They don't allow it to breathe. These are soft, they are comfortable, they are forgiving for every shape, size. And whether you're very thin or you're athletic or you're a little heavy or whatever your story is, these pants are comfortable. And what they do is they take one more barrier or challenge. Maybe it's not an excuse, like Barbara said, but there's a barrier, there's a challenge that stops you from being comfortable. So the fifth person that writes a comment, either on Facebook or LinkedIn, I'm going to buy you a pair of pants, and then we'll show you the link, and you can pick whether you want colorful ones or solid black ones or whatever works for you. But the difference is that you put these on and they are as forgiving and accepting as yoga is. And I think that's what Barbara does. That's such a beautiful thing, is we can get in our own heads. And even though it is our practice, and even though great instructors remind us that, it's still easy to get in our head and go, well, that person can stand up in the tree pose for 30 minutes and I can't get off the ground. And that forgiveness, that grace that I love to teach and talk about, of like, what if we just accept ourselves right where we are? Maybe we don't always settle to stay right where we are, but we accept who we are, and then we ask what's one step that we can take to move forward. So I love that Barbara's in color. I love that she has color, but I also know she thought about everybody. She was super intentional on what kind of fabric, what is it going to feel like? What do people need to carry with them? What is one barrier I can remove to make them feel comfortable? And yes, you can wear them for anything. They're very comfortable. I wear them to walk on the beach all the time, wear them for yoga, but you can wear them for anything. They're comfortable, they're forgiving, but they're also very accepting of our bodies without squeezing us, without judging us. They just allow us to be free, which removes one barrier to get back to who we want to be, or stretching or yoga or whatever it is. And so what do you think is confusing about health, Barbara? I always feel like people, like when I say, do you want to get healthy? It's like, oh, I don't know where to start. I don't do anything. I just sit in my chair and eat potato chips. How do I get started? So what's kind of a confusing thing about health, or a myth that you'd like to change or teach us, or just something you want us to think about when it comes to health?
I think the main thing that I would like to have people take with them is that most people, when they say, or when they think of health, it's all about the physical part of it. So if people can start thinking more beyond, yes, that saying with the food, I mean, if we're eating fast food every single day, we know probably we can anticipate what the benefits or not would be of doing that to our bodies. But if they can open the window a little bit more and incorporate in that mental and physical health. What are we doing for our mental health? For an example, at a work situation, why is it always we have to call in sick because we're physically sick, like we have a broken arm or something? Now more and more companies are allowing for that. I just need a mental health day. I need to spend time with my kids or my family or my parents or my pets, and so I mean, incorporating that, and then also what are we doing for our spiritual health? So if we can equal that out and it's not so intimidating, we can kind of put some attention or light onto those separate categories. That, okay, for today I'm going to do this. I'm going to eat good all day for my physical health, but also that's going to transfer into my mental health. I'll think more clearly because I'm not bogged down by whatever maybe we ate. And then spiritually, we can be more uplifting. So I always like to say, if we can take care of our own self and our own bodies, we certainly then can take care of other people, which reminds me then of the yoga's mission statement. So the why stands for you, and that means we do want to take care of ourselves. We have one life here, so take care of ourselves, and we can take care of others the best that we can, or know how to, I should say. The O is for Om, and that's that vibration. We all vibrate at different levels, whether it's negative energy or positive energy. And I certainly want to vibrate, on a positive vibe, but sometimes that's not always possible. When we're pineapple people, sometimes we have like those pokey days, right? And then the G is for gratitude. And daily, I wake up with gratitude. I usually have my puppies licking my face, and I'm just so grateful for that. I love them so much. And then at night, I think about, that I've done something better or different, just checking in with the gratitude. A is for affirmation, and then Z is for Zen. So that's kind of the whole yoga's mission statement that really says it all.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. It's such good work and it matters. I love when people can take, and even the tragedy of losing so many people young and channeling that into studying yoga and understanding it and then caring about it for yourself so you can get healthy, but then now using it as a tool to care about other people and support other people. So do you have any success stories about working with clients, about your business? When did you start yogas?
So I guess it's been a actual company for just a little bit over a year now, but
Yep.
we began kind of thinking about it way beyond. I mean, it was probably even before COVID. Sort of like there's more out there, news to spread and so forth. So I had just been jotting down notes here and there. But I do have a really cool success story. I'll tell you about a woman that near and dear to my heart. And so when I first began working with this person, it was in home. It was out of not in a facility or anything like that, as a mental health practitioner. And my job was not to fix people, but it's that you have loving arms, and together you're going to figure things out. Mm-hmm. So the very first meeting that I had with this person is she had a real, I don't know how to say it. She had a lot of pokies coming at me, and I didn't really know how to deflect them. So I made my way into her place, and I could hear her barking from the back room to come on in, and I'll be right there, kind of thing. And so anyway, it was very uncomfortable. She was very rude and all but kicked me out of her place on this very first meeting. But come to find out, all those things that I mentioned in that pizza, she said that she doesn't have any pizza left. There's nothing there. She's like, I have nobody in my life. I have no transportation. I can't go anywhere. Look at me. I weigh 400 pounds. Nobody likes me. They make fun of me. It was everything you can imagine, all, and it just was down to nothing. So then, over the course of our time working together and figuring out what was her goals, what confronting and forgiving things that had happened in the past and letting them go. So, realizing that in our past, if we keep regurgitating that over and over again, that's a recipe for depression. And so, but then there's that anticipation and anxiety. And if we're not fortune tellers, so we want to just, be aware of that, but we don't want it right in our face. So we have this, so it's sort of like if we can keep that past, honor and forgive, let things go, and then that anticipation of the future, anxiety. So if we can focus right on the present moment. And this person started doing that more and more every day. And one of the funnest things that I remember is it was time to begin to look at her physical health and etc. And we went to the grocery store, and she mentioned that she had not ever tried snap peas ever in her life. So we picked up all these sort of healthy snacks, and we went back to her place, and we had a nice healthy snack, and we were snapping the peas, and it was like a whole new colorful world had opened up to her. And so at our end of our time together, it was bittersweet because around that time my dad had passed away, and I needed to take some time off for that. And so she mentioned thank you, and we had tears and all this and that, and her goal to be able to speak in public at an AA meeting actually came to fruition. Unfortunately, I didn't get to attend and see her tell her story and her pineapple that she is. I'm getting emotional because it was bittersweet. She was just a sweetheart. So anyway, but she's in flight and all that, and so that was one example of many that just touched my heart. And
you're getting emotional, Barbara, because you cared about someone who told you don't care about me, who told you I'm not worthy of being cared about, not worthy of being seen, and you said, wait a minute. You might be pokey on the outside, but I'm seeing something beautiful inside. And you hung in there with her. And I think it's easier and those people to convince us to give up on them. And when you are called to be that hug, I loved that visual. Like you were a hug to her as she was, I have nothing, and you're going to be one more disappointment in my life, but you hung in there and you taught her how to like snap peas. I mean, just like people think, oh, well, there's no hope here. No, there's always hope. And sometimes it starts with the snap pea, which seems silly, but it's real. And we have Laura saying this is great, commenting. And just a reminder that the 5th comment on this will be, I will be getting you a pair of pants. We'll connect and make sure you get that link and get to pick the color and the size that fits you best. But they're just great. But Barbara, I know people are going to love listening to you, love learning more about Yaz and what you're doing. Yogs. What is it?
Yogas.
Yaz, in my head, that music. From the 80s, yogas. And so they're going to want to learn where they can find it. They're going to want to learn where they can meet you and where they can hear more of your hope and your inspiration and your beautiful, compassionate, gentle, non-judging heart, which we need more of that in this world. But what's the best way? What's one way that they could connect with you?
I'd probably say the best way is to contact me through it's yogas.com. So it's it's yoga with a Z.com. And on my website, you'll find a section that I have more stories. I call it Mat Chat. We're sitting on the mat and chatting. I also have on there, there's a section for that describes the clothing a little bit more and what it's all about and how the fabric, it's intentional, earth-friendly, made with modal. So that's on there, and then a little bit more of my story, and then connecting up, and there's other testimonial stories of people that I've worked with and etc. So I'd love to contact or talk, connect with people. So that's the best way. Yogas.com.
Yogas.com. And so we're going to share all that in the comments below. So you'll be able to click on links. We're going to make it as easy as possible so you can connect with my dear friend who's such an inspiration, such a beautiful person. Barbara at Yogas is caring about herself first so she can care about you. And she's making it easy to get started and then create a community around being healthy, body, mind, and spirit. Thank you so much for being with me here today. And we look forward to seeing you all next week on H3 TV. Stay hopeful, healthy, and happy.
Namaste.